Good afternoon. Today we're looking at Bexar Central Appraisal District.
Hi, hello.
Okay, before you get started,
Okay,
I've got some things I got to do. So this is
got
the
you.
housekeeping stuff. This is a presentation from the San Antonio Coalition of Veterans and Families. Our mission, immediate assistance for homeless vets. Please hit the like button or subscribe to our channel. Please do both. It really helps us more than you'd realize. Our speaker today, we're lucky to have Janiyah Parker. She's a project specialist. This is a copy of the dashboard of the Bexar Central Appraisal District. I had the opportunity prepping for this to go through their website. I found it was very easy to navigate. The directions were very clear. The help options seemed very simple to follow as I went through them. And I found it very easy to download forms. And I always appreciate this, especially in a government website, that it's easy to use and clear to follow. Their contact information, customer service, their physical location and mailing address, and of course, we're including their QR code in case people want to look at the website. So without further ado, Janiyah, a quick question.
Yes,
You
sir.
have an interesting job. How did you get into this?
I was pretty young, honestly, when I got into this. Again, starting out new, I was coming from a different position previously at the elections department, and then I got here and found this as a good grounding place, and again, have been able to learn a lot and go from there.
And how long have you been working?
4 years. I've been at 4 years here
Wow.
at the Bear Central Appraisal District. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, how about telling us a little bit about it, especially the connection to veterans?
Sure. Again, yes, Janiyah Parker here, representative for the Bear Central Appraisal District. The main thing that we specialize in as being a political subdivision of the state of Texas is, of course, to appraise and assess exemptions over properties, of course, mandated by the Texas Property Tax Code. That's pretty much the main thing that we specialize here.
Super.
Yeah.
Okay. So
But yeah,
how does this all work? How does it affect me, a homeowner in Texas?
if we're now getting into the exemption side, is that what you're referencing? Right. I mean,
Sure.
yeah, if we're getting into the exemptions, homeowners definitely can get with us, and we have a variety of exemptions that can be applied. The main thing, of course, getting into our general exemptions, we have the residence homestead exemption, which was recently increased to $140,000 that is taken off of the appraised value of the property. And of course, addition to that, we have the disabled person and then the over 65 exemption. Those two exemptions provide a good tax ceiling over the taxing jurisdiction rates that help to kind of course, limit and lock in how much a person is paying each year. And of course, for those two exemptions, it was increased to $60,000 that is being taken off of the ISD portion for their properties. Getting back to the resident homestead, specifically for that, we have that homestead cap that kind of coincides with it. I know a lot of people get confused with thinking they're the same thing. Of course, you establish the homestead exemption over your property, and once that homestead exemption has been claimed for at least a whole year, the year after that, that homestead cap again will take into effect. And again, it limits how much the appraised value can be increased each year, and that's no more than 10%. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm a service-connected vet. What do I need to know?
If you are a service-connected vet, again, right, we definitely have exemptions for you, starting with our disabled veteran partial exemption. That's going to range from anyone at 10% up to 90%. And again, as long as you are deemed with veteran administration of being at that percentage and you're able to provide us a good VA letter, providing again the total combined rating that you are and the effective date, we can go from there. Second to that, of course, we have our main exemption. That's like the big wowers, that 100% disabled veteran exemption. And of course, with that, pretty clear, you would have to be a person that is established at that 100% rating or an individual unemployable who, again, the VA has deemed as being at that 100% rate. And the same thing with the partial, be able to provide us that VA letter, clear and concise, stating that you are that percent and the effective date to go along with that. Right. Those are the main ones just for disabled veterans.
And when the veteran dies, how's the spouse affected?
Sure. For the surviving spouse, we do have a couple of exemptions. Of course, the basic one is going to be that disabled veteran partial exemption for the surviving spouse. So again, going back to that 0 to 10%, as long as the surviving spouse can provide us with a letter, again, addressed to her, stating the percent that he was specifically, he or she, I'm sorry, the percent that they were specifically at the time of death, or providing us a letter that may have been addressed to the veteran during the year that they passed away. We definitely can take that and go from there. And that's, of course, for the partial. Getting into the disabled veteran 100% for the surviving spouse. Again, that's now going to get into being able to apply that total tax exempt. And so for this, it kind of gets a little bit more critiquey, but of course, still very simple, straight to the point, just getting a VA letter the same way addressed to the surviving spouse, stating that the veteran, whatever his percent was, of course, 100% specifically at the time of death, or again, a letter addressed to the surviving, I'm sorry, not addressed, a letter addressed to the veteran during the year that they passed away that we can definitely take. And again, providing that same information. The main thing with the 100% surviving spouse, though, is that the initial exemption, meaning the DVHS, is going to have been established already on the property, or in certain cases, right? We understand sometimes things happen. Maybe the veteran didn't know he qualified for it. In these cases, surviving spouse still can qualify. And in this case, it just needs to be still the same primary residence. The spouse has not remarried. This is going to be for all disabled veteran surviving spouse exemptions. We can definitely look into that too. Yeah. But lastly, of course, we get into our mass or our resident homestead exemption for an armed service member killed or fatally injured in the line of duty. And so for this exemption, it's a little bit more iffy, but no, definitely can still qualify for this exemption if you were a person or your spouse was a person who, again, was killed or fatally injured in the line of duty. And again, as long as you're able to provide us a VA letter that's stating that information and go from there, that's something that we can review. And the last thing is definitely not necessarily about surviving spouse, but a surviving child. You definitely also can qualify for claiming exemptions. This is going to be a person, though, when I say person, a child who is under the age, I'm sorry, of 18 years of age or older, or younger, I'm sorry. But yeah, as long as that child is listed as an heir to the property, whether that be by a probated will, a deed to the property, they would need to be listed as an heir in some way. We can definitely help them out. And again, same way, some type of documentation from Veteran Affairs that's listing that. And then lastly, for that exemption, both parents, of course, would have to be deceased.
Super. That's
Yeah,
very helpful. I'm going to ask you a general question.
sure.
I think, like most homeowners in Bear County, I'm hounded by all kinds of entities that want to help me lower my appraisal value. Do I have to use something like that, or can I do it myself? Or what happens when someone wants to dispute their current appraisal value?
Their property. Yeah, definitely. They definitely do that. I would say not necessarily with outside entities. I would recommend. I would definitely say touch bases here with us at the Bear Central Appraisal District. We send out appraisal notices each year around April, mid-April, so that you have that chance by May the 15th. That's that deadline to establish the fact that, again, you would like to file an appeal over your property for whatever that given year is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Um, how often do you get people wanting to change their appraisal value? Is that a common thing?
It can be common. It definitely can be. And ultimately, it really just comes down to the specific property owner and what their ultimate objective is, whether they are okay with their value being assessed at a certain amount, meaning, hey, did it go up a specific year? And I'm okay with my value being here because I want to maybe profit off of that higher increase. Or maybe I'm another property owner who's saying, hey, maybe this increase is not really beneficial to me. And this is now something that I may want to appeal because I have property damage, different things possibly going on around my property that doesn't necessarily coincide with the value that the appraisal district may be having assessed my property at.
What
Yeah.
else do people need to know about the process?
The appeal process,
And just the process in general.
um, what would they need to know? I guess I would say the main thing is that If you ever have questions in regards to your property outside of the appeal season, you want to find any information, of course, you always know you can reach out to us here at the Bear Central Appraisal District. You can use the avenues on our website under our property search tab to find more information about either your property, different properties around you. If you would like to gather evidence, let's say you are trying to have a hearing, that's definitely useful information. Of course, like I said, again, definitely calling us, coming in person. If you're just maybe a person that just likes to talk one-on-one, we definitely want to help you out in those ways too.
Super. Okay, that was very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, as I said, very easy for a veteran to download the forms needed right on site, very easy for everyone. But if you're looking for the forms in the past, I haven't gotten them off your site, I've gotten them off the state site. So I was
Mm,
very surprised to see that and very pleased.
yes.
Okay, thank you
No,
so much.
for sure. And again, if you ever have any questions, definitely reach out to us here at the Bear Central Appraisal District. You can use our help center, which is going to be the help.bcat.org to reach out to us, of course, by mail, fax. Um, Reach out to us, call us, any type of way. We are always going to be here to help and to administer that trust and transparency that we're all about here.
Very good. Again, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you for your time too, sir.